What's up, world? This your boy Tommy Mal, and I got a question. Is it fair to use death threats to calm down valuable criticism? That's my question. Before I get to that, please take the time to comment if you like what I have to say, or dislike what you like to have to say. Or if you want to have a discussion about it in the comment section below, do that. But first, please subscribe. I'm trying to get my video, trying to see if I can get to 100 subscribers as fast as I can. Please subscribe, thumbs up my videos if you like it, and hit that notification button so you get my videos as soon as they can come out. But regardless, what's up, world? It's your time and Mal. I just wanted to come in and pop in about because I feel as if the whole Gail King situation has gotten completely out of hand on both sides, right? Okay. The question that I pose is, if someone gets a death threat, does it immediately alleviate all the criticism they receive? Because I'm starting to realize this new trick in Hollywood. Whenever somebody does something they're not supposed to do, they come out and start saying they're getting death threats, and then people start to back up off them. It's not criticize what they actually did and start to more focus on them, the treatment they got for the ignorance that they did. Right? Gail King did something she knew was wrong when she did it. She thought, because overwhelmingly women think that they have the most rabid fan base, right? And when you're used to having the most rabid fan base, you get very comfortable saying things that offend everybody else, but they don't offend that particular fan base, right? Black people, we're very I don't care about 90% of things, but when it comes to things that are centered in us, we tend to be more rabid, right? Black people, black people will speak on Trump, but they speak on Trump in a way like they don't really care. It's like, this is America. Dave Chappelle said something in his stand up that I thought was real that I think was one of the more profound things he said, and I think people just glossed over, right? Dave Chappelle said, there's no difference between a black person and a white person. Only difference between a black person and a white person is a white person believes it shouldn't be happening to them. That is the only difference between black people and white people. And I think that is the absolute truest thing I've ever heard. Black people, we don't cry about things because we're never surprised by what happens in America. I will speak to people who cannot understand my experience. I can tell them a million times, look, dude, I wake up in the morning, when I was little, and I used to walk outside and I would say hi to police officers, and they would look at me and drive past me like I was a piece of crap when I was 8 or 9 years old. Never committed a crime in my life. They never saw me as someone to protect. They never saw me as someone as anything. And that's why I say I grew up and I thought every police officer was a scumbag, because all the police officers that patrol my area were scumbags. When I would speak to them, they wouldn't speak back. They talked worse than the drug dealers did. Half of them cursed and said more profane and more disrespectful stuff than the police. The thugs did. And the truth about it is, when the thugs committed crimes, it would make sense if you were there, but they never did anything to the actual killer. They were afraid of them. They were afraid of the people who were bad. The ones that they were there to protect us from, they wouldn't do anything to them because they would be afraid of getting in the shootouts and everything else. So they would only focus on small-time criminals and people who didn't do anything, and people like me who are innocent, sports players or normal people who went to school. So I can't explain to someone that experience. I can only tell you that experience, and you have to choose whether or not you want to believe it. And I think too often in our society, we have got black people. We just ignore things because in our minds we like, most black people. I'm not saying everyone, but majority of black people, we don't get into politics that much. We'll comment on politics, basically saying we think the whole system is corrupt and it doesn't really matter who they put in president. They don't give a shit about me. That is the black motto. Democrat, Republican, I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, they don't care about me anyways. So if the Democrats say they're going to give me some extra money, I'll take that. If the Republicans say they're going to give me anything, I'll take that. But for the most part, I know neither one of them give a shit about me or my people. That is the black experience in America. The white experience in America is things are supposed to be fair. It's supposed to be fair. You know what I'm saying? Things are supposed to be fair. That's unfair. We should change that because it's unfair. Black people, we never thought that because it's always been unfair to us. So when you see these right-fighting people, you know what I'm saying? They tend to think black people are docile because we don't care about most things that don't really have any big picture mindset, right? You can criticize R. Kelly, nobody gives a shit. He's a scumbag. Nobody's gonna jump to R. Kelly's defense. You can criticize Bill Cosby because nobody cares. Nobody's gonna jump to Bill Cosby's defense because everybody knows Bill Cosby is a scumbag. Now, are there gonna be people with different opinions about what level of scumbag Bill Cosby is in comparison to a Harvey Weinstein or anybody of that ilk? Yes, but for the most part, this is what I really got angry with. In that documentary, that R. Kelly documentary, they spent so much time bashing black men, saying that we don't care about black women, right? That we don't care about their experience. We don't care about what they're going through. Which is the biggest lie in the history of television. The audacity to go on national TV and promote it as if black men don't care about black women is so disingenuous and so not true. You can make the argument that black men at times will overly make excuses for black women. They go overboard in making excuses for the things that they do and the way that they act. Because we have mothers, we have sisters, we have daughters. So sometimes we make, just like black women make excuses for black males bullcrap, and white women make excuses for white male bullcrap, black and white males make excuses for their women. That's what we do. That's what, as a race, which I think race is the stupidest concept in the history of man. There's no such thing as a race. There's only one race. That's the human race. There is no black. There's no white. You're just human. You know what I'm saying? You can't find two black people. I mean, it's hard to find anybody that's the same shade all the way. So I don't know at what, like, I saw a documentary where the lady was like, "Oh, my mom was black my whole life and I never knew it." Well, then it should let you know how stupid the concept of race is. It's a completely made up, fabricated thing that they did so that they could separate the lower class. That's it. They simply made up these constructs of people so that the lower class can't come together and overthrow the 1%, because we are by far the majority. The lower class is, because there is not enough to go around, and the people on the bottom are usually the ones that get screwed. They don't have the resources to get out of their situation. So people at the bottom, if they chose to, they could start a revolution, because they're generally all congregated in one small area, because they can only go to that area. They can't migrate. They can't buy a big property and encase themselves off from the rest of their community. They have to integrate. They have to do that. So how do you keep all those people in a prison without bars or barbed wire or anything? How do you keep them in a prison without letting them know they're in a prison? And then keeping the prisoners from coming together and working against the system that keeps them oppressed. I cut those people up. I started to make them believe that the reason why their situation is like that is because of each other. And then I separate that hatred and I give it a face. White, black, Asian, Hispanic, immigrant, citizen. I give them things to saturate them and separate them, so that when they look around, they say, you know what? My situation wouldn't be as bad if it wasn't for him. when they're all being oppressed by the same person? White person, black person. They all hate the same person, but they can only get to each other. So you can either walk around being angry with nobody to take that anger out on, or you can find a easy target, somebody that is in your vicinity that you can take that anger out on. So 9 out of 10 times, people, instead of being mad at Bill Clinton, who they can never touch or see, or the rich 1% that they would never be in 10 yards without security, I'm never going to get that anger out. I'm just going to be a dog howling at the moon. So I'd rather be a dog fighting another dog, even though I'm fighting that dog who really is in the same position I am, because I wouldn't be able to get to him otherwise. When instead, we will start fighting each other. And before you know it, we don't forget what the whole argument was about. Lord, and the 1% keeps putting out this stuff that makes us hate each other. Women, man, all these constructs that are completely made up. When you look at what Gail King did in this interview, she anticipated that if she goes out and says this about Kobe Bryant, she's going to get a kudos from all these women. All these women in this Me Too culture. She's going to get a thumbs up because she had journalistic integrity to bring up but in her angst to get these kudos, and so that she will be remembered as this journalist, because she didn't want to go down. If it get flipped the other way and Kobe Bryant goes down as a villain, she doesn't want it to be seen as she's a bad person, right? So she didn't ask the right questions. So she's gonna ask the question so that she can say later on, it's kind of like a politician. I'm gonna vote. I don't really believe this, but I'm gonna vote yes on this so that when they look at my track record later down the line, they can look back and say I was not a part of that, right? I asked the prudent questions. I said this in my last video, but I think it got blurred out because I had some audio problems. But we need to understand the difference between the power class and the lower class. Just kind of hit it on it with my last statement. Men don't oppress women. Rich men oppress women. It's a very destructive mindset in feminism that makes them believe that it's their job to tear down patriarchy or males. So they start, as I said about the whole construct of society, they start aiming their guns at the helpless, right? It's crazy to me that how often they'll say we need to put in laws that prevent women that make it more advantageous for women to come forward. But guess what? When you make it more advantageous for women to come forward, you make it disadvantageous for men who are being accused, unless they have the proper money to get the proper representation, to get certain things omitted, to have a fair trial. Because fair is dictated by how much money you have in our justice system a lot of times. Not because the justice system is corrupt. It's because most people, unless you're paid well as an attorney, and you're an attorney that you're in a firm that allows you to make money through clientele, it's kind of hard for you either have to take on a bulk of cases so that you can get paid the right amount of money to add up to having one high profile client on retainer. You know what I'm saying? Or you can just so you're either gonna get an overworked guy who has a million cases because he's running his own law firm, and the only way he can pay his bills is to take on as many cases as he can, or you're gonna have the public defender who is underpaid and has is usually probably some guy out of college or some guy who is doing it until he can get to a point to where he can represent and start his own firm or join another firm. So you're not really getting the proper representation. So a poor person does not have the ability to fight a law that is already stacked against them. a rich person does. A rich person can pay a attorney to focus squarely on their case, who can go through and comb through all these precedents and stuff like that, and find proper ways to get certain things omitted from trial, get certain witnesses knocked off, get certain and even on the corrupt side, they can pay off judges and things like that, like there's been evidence of in the past. So, or they have relationships with people. So my whole point I'm trying to get is that money can allow a person to get justice. When you don't have that, you're screwed. So women who work so hard to kill the patriarchy, they're not killing the patriarchy, because the people that are oppressing them are still at the top. Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, took years for him to get prosecuted, right? Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, O.J. Simpson. All these people that they bring to light are rich people. They're not African American males. They're not white males. They're rich males. But see, that's never a common denominator. It's never a race of people, rich and poor. It's always, because the minute you look at Bill Cosby, you do not see him as a rich person. You see him as a black person. When you look at O.J. Simpson, they didn't see him as a murderer, a rich guy, a spoiled rich murderer. They saw him as a black man. And when you start to make up these made up constructs in society to try to separate people, what you end up doing is making it so the people who need the help can never get it. When you have scholarships and affirmative actions that are based, and I'm not saying those things don't have their place. They have their place. But I can understand if I'm a poor white American, right, and I bust my butt to try to get into a school, and a rich black kid gets to get into that school over me. Is that fair? Because he's had more advantages than I have. He has more money than I have. I grew up in a trailer park. He grew up in a mansion. But because he's black, he's gonna get affirmative action, and I get nothing. I'm gonna get declined. I send my junk in, and I'm not gonna get into the school. So I'm not saying, like I said, affirmative action has its place. I understand what the need for it. They had to make it because for the same reason why they had to make the Rooney Rule in the NFL. They had to make those rules because if they didn't make those rules, it would be incredibly hard for minorities to get into positions of power. I understand the need for those things, but I also can understand that when you try to help help people based on groups, sometimes you step on people who do not benefit from what makes a group powerful. If you're a poor white American, you do not have the same privileges as a rich white American. But they don't make a distinction between the two. They just think they're the same people. They're not the same people. And you know the saddest part is the people who get the brunt of the anger are the people with no power. They're the ones who got to walk into stores and get paint thrown in their faces. They're got to be the ones who say, look, I may not agree with everything Trump says, but at least he cares about me, right? But if they walk around saying and tell somebody they voted for Trump, they can say, I don't agree with half the things Trump said. Nobody's going to believe them. They're just going to say you represent the enemy. You represent the oppression. You represent the racism. It's like, no, I don't. I represent me. And if the Democratic Party is constantly making me out to be the enemy, constantly making me out to be the bad guy, why in the world would I step behind? It's like if I'm, if I go and I'm from a city, right? And we're at war with another city. And they're saying, F this city, F that city, and they're trashing my city, they're trashing my place, what I'm proud of, right? And then I turn around and people like, well, you should vote for them because they care about They care about things that are important. You're like, no, I'm not going to vote for them because they all they do is talk negatively about me and my culture and where I come from. Why in the world would I jump on a party that obviously doesn't care about me? Obviously paints me as the enemy, paints me as the devil, doesn't care about helping me. It's like an African American joining the KKK. It's like, why in the world would I join the KKK when you have expressed on many occasions that you think lesser of me, you think I'm bad, you think I'm evil. I'm gonna jump into your party because it's better off for poor white people. It's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I just think that we need to stop doing it. And you take somebody like a Gail King, who chooses to go on TV and focus on Kobe Bryant, right? Who was a rich black athlete, right? But the problem with Gail King's comments wasn't that she decided to bring up these comments. She never had a sit-down interview with Kobe Bryant. If these were strong things that she felt about, she should have had that discussion with Kobe Bryant when he was alive. You don't capitalize on a person's death to push an agenda. He's dead, so he can't defend himself. He can't go back and better explain things that may make him look bad. He's not there to explain, hey, I sent this letter, but this is what I meant when I said that. He's not here to defend himself. So if you put all you did was put a question into the atmosphere that can only be answered by the woman, because she's the only one still around. And of course, she's not going to say anything that's disadvantageous to her. He's dead. He can't defend himself anymore. And he's the only one that was there outside of the girl. So it's not fair to bring that into the discussion palette, because Lisa Leslie wasn't there. There's no way where she can answer that question. Because in order for her to believe that he has a checker pass, she has to believe he actually did it. And if she doesn't believe he did it, then she can't believe he has a checker pass. And if her values say that, him having one infidelity doesn't make him a bad person, then that's as far as she can go with it. She can't throw a charge on him that was dismissed and never proven. So, especially when you look at the evidence of the case, the preponderance of evidence is on Kobe's side, not the girls. So, what I'm trying to say is, when Gail King did that, she didn't. This wasn't. A lot of times there are a lot of people that grab their pitchforks for no reason. This is people grabbing their pitchforks because they have a good reason. There is a reason for them to be upset. There is a reason for them to be mad, because if they hold a person in high esteem and you are tarnishing their legacy in a way that they can't refute because they are not here, you feel a level of obligation to defend that person, because they're not here to defend themselves. So I understand the backlash she got, because all these Kobe fans are saying, hey, he's not here to defend himself, but I'm gonna defend him because you're wrong for what you did. You brought up a question that he's not here to answer, and you made a whole bunch of people who may have not known that case or may not have even been thinking about that case revisit a terrible part in that man's life that he left, and he was living his life and he had left that long in his past. It happened 20 years ago. And I have never heard anybody speaking in Kobe Bryant's name bring up that case, except for a bunch of racist and crazy feminists. There was nothing that proved that guy did anything. If he got smashed, boy, you got testimony where these people said he did this and that, he did it. There's no first-hand account of what happened. There's just a bunch of innuendo because it never went to trial and it was dismissed. And she said, well, because the lady wouldn't come forward. But I went over all this in my last one. The whole point of this discussion is to say, do I believe that Gail King is getting death threats? It's possible. I mean, people get death threats. Nick Wright said he gets death threats. All he does is talk about sports. So why he would get death threats, Nobody knows. They're crockpots on here. They said the girl Rose Tico, who played Rose on Star Wars, got death threats. Why would anybody send her a death threat? Nobody knows. But when you put yourself in the public sphere, you open yourself up to lunatics and loons. They're gonna do stuff like that. But does that? So I just hate that they're aligning people who are defending Kobe Bryant with people sending death threats, and they're trying to act like they're synonymous. They're not synonymous. They're not the same people. I've gone through a litany of different videos. None of them are speaking about harming her physically. All of them are saying harm her career. When Snoop Dogg was talking, he was not talking about harming her physically. He was saying we can make it so you won't be able to make a living if you want to go that route. If you want to start that crap and you want to go that route and start tarnishing this man's name when he's not around to defend himself like he's R. Kelly or somebody, you know what I'm saying? Then we're going to destroy your career. That's what they were saying. Do I agree with that? No, I don't agree. I don't think anybody should have their career destroyed because they have a different opinion. I say the beauty about having a stupid opinion is that you don't have to lose your career for somebody to realize it's a stupid opinion. Gail King has done a lot of excellent interviews, and she's had a track record because everybody likes to bring up that she likes to bash African American males. But I see Gail King do all types of interviews where she does more than just bash on black men. But I think there's a hypersensitivity within the black community that causes us to run and corral around every celebrity we have and start saying calling somebody a bad wench. I do not think that Gail King or Oprah are bad wenches. I think that I think they are held to a standard that normal people in their positions aren't held to, right? Ellen can go on TV and do something, and nobody will say anything, right? But then Ellen went on TV, went out and she did something with President Bush, and she got destroyed for it. But not because she agreed with President Bush's stuff, not because she did anything. Ellen got buried because she decided to laugh and make a joke and look like she's having a good time while in the same luxury box as George Bush. She said, "Well, she was like, I'm nice to everybody. I'm not just nice with people who agree with me." And they're saying that doesn't matter. You should be canceled because that guy said that you shouldn't be able to get married and this, that, and third. And she's sitting up there like, so I'm supposed to walk in there and just start cursing them out? Like, what was the proper response for her? She's held to a higher standard because she's seen as a protected class, or she's backed by a rabid fan base, right? Same thing with Oprah and Gail King. They're put in positions that their contemporaries aren't put in, because every time when it's like Stephen A. Smith, this is why I try to give Stephen A. Smith leeway. But the only difference between, I think, Oprah and Gail King and Stephen A. Smith is Stephen A. Smith does not care about the fact that he represents African Americans. He's on there to speak about whatever puts him in the best position to succeed. I think Oprah, Gail King, and a lot of people that they call coons are people who stand out in the front to represent success. But they have empires that are based on more than just catering to African Americans. They're catering to people, and whenever they make a stand that's against African American, they bury them. But when they make a stand that is for African Americans, when they were out there, when Oprah was out there being one of the forefront people to help Barack Obama become president, they loved her, right? When she would bring Michelle Obama on TV, they loved her. When she brings Beyonce and all these prominent African American figures, and she helps them with their careers and all this and third, they love her. But you can't. I just don't like that thing where I'm able to big up the African American community, but I can't ever criticize you when you do something bad. Gail King did a misstep on this. There's no denying it. She shouldn't have did what she did. But that doesn't discredit the lady's entire career. I think that's ridiculous for people who go on this freaking crusade to bury the lady. You know what I'm saying? Because she did it, and I would understand if she took Stephen A's stance on it. If she came out and said, said, you know what, this is what Stephen A. normally do. I don't give a D. You don't get to tell me what to do. You don't get to tell me what I believe. I get to say what I want to say. Ain't nobody gonna stop me from speaking my mind. Stephen A. has no recognition. He has no respect for the African American community. He does the people that allow him to get his platform. He doesn't have respect for the people he's supposed to speak for. He doesn't care about. So therefore, Stephen A. Smith, or he seems to not care about, right? At least from the agendas that he puts forward and how he makes, Stephen A. generally makes it harder for people in a disadvantageous position. I don't think Gail King did that. I think Gail King gave Lisa Leslie the proper time to respond. She just was wrong for asking the question. But it's not like she knows she knows when Lisa Leslie responds in a certain way. She has to question her, because if she does not question her in the proper manner, people are going to say she let her off easy. And why didn't you say this, or why didn't you say that? So she was in an impossible situation. But she should have never been in that situation, because she should have never asked that question. Let other people ask that question. Don't you take the heat. And she said, and it's no shock, her president is a woman, right? The lady who's defending her most harshly. With the most fervent, is it most fervently or fervently? But the one who's defending her the most is the president or vice president. She's a woman, white woman, right? She probably was the one who told her to ask that question. Because I tell people this all the time. Nobody cares about the other person, right? The other lady didn't care about how it made African Americans look. She didn't think about it. She didn't think about how it was tearing down a man who was accused and bringing up a history. She didn't even think about the history of African American males that have been accused of this crime in the past. And the crippling effects is had on the African American community and history of women doing this to African American males. She didn't think about that, because that wasn't her plight. That's not what she has to deal with. She has to deal with the oppression of her position. So she's going to go out and she's going to talk about it, and she's going to say all these things because she's trying to focus on her plight at the expense of someone else's. So the problem was they picked the wrong superstar to go after. Because Laker fan base and Kobe Bryant fans are, I tell you, as a person who made videos against Kobe Bryant, 90% of the videos I made, because I was never a Kobe Bryant fan, they are rabid. They will come after you. They will not stop commenting and cursing you out and everything else if you say anything about Kobe Bryant. So I knew when she made that comment about Kobe Bryant, she was going to the guillotine. Because, A, it was uncalled for. You having an interview with Lisa Leslie and she's talking about her friend. So why in the world, obviously she wouldn't be friends with him if she had a problem with what he did. Or not that she wouldn't be friends with him, but I seriously doubt she would be holding him in high esteem if that was the case. It's a question that doesn't need to be asked because no one needs to know. No one cares to know it. I don't need to know what Lisa Leslie's mindset is on Kobe Bryant's legacy. How's that as a person listening and getting information from your broadcast? How I'm confused actually as to how that I'm in a better position now that I know what Lisa Leslie thought. I came to hear you speak to Lisa Leslie about Kobe Bryant to hear things that help people who are grieving over his death. They help you remember the man. And bringing up his fault in that situation kind of spits in the face of the people coming to see the interview, because they're not coming to see it to get some clarity on some minority of people who believe that he got away with something, because the vast majority of people do not believe he got away with anything. They believe he got the charges was dismissed, and all the evidence that came out showed this lady had a checkered past, and Kobe Bryant did not. But Anyways, when you start sending death threats to people, I can 100% understand the need to say, hold up, y'all, we going crazy. But I feel like it's only upon Oprah and Gail King. If you're going to put that out into the culture, you're going to put that out in the zeitgeist and get people thinking that the vast majority of these people are sending death threats to you, I think that's unfair. Because she may have gotten 3 or 4 death threats, right? Because she probably got millions of people who sent stuff to her that didn't say anything about doing that to her. But when you get a large population of people who are radically attacking one person, you're going to have some loons in there who have no intentions of doing anything to you except making your life harder. And they feel if they say certain things that are going to make you uncomfortable, that's going to make your life harder, they're going to do it. They're crazy. They're loons. So I feel like it's disingenuous to categorize the entire whole of the people criticizing her as crazy people. Oh, they're sending her death threats because she asked questions. No, they're sending her death threats because they're crazy. They're loons. The people who are criticizing her about the questioning in that interview, which was unfair to Kobe Bryant, who was not there to defend himself, and relitigating a case from 20 years ago in which there were 2 sides to the story, is unfair to Kobe Bryant's legacy because he is not here to combat any of those arguments put forth. And you have opened up a floodgate of people who are going to be talking about those allegations instead of the man, which is completely unfair. It's completely unfair to his legacy. It's completely unfair to his grieving family and those who are dealing with his death. That's so unfair. You shouldn't have did that. And to Gail King's credit, she came out and she admitted that. She said she was disgusted after she went back and looked at it because she does not feel like that was a fair representation. What more do you want the lady to say? She said she was sorry. She said she was disgusted by it and she was embarrassed by it. She did not like that she did it. I don't understand what else she could have done. When I heard that, I was like, cool. We all make mistakes. She didn't think about it. She only thought about it from the point of view of the woman. She didn't think about it from the point of view of Kobe Bryant and the people grieving his death. Fine. But instead, they want to cut her head off still. And that mindset, that's where you kind of lose me. It's like she apologized. But then my annoyance went the other way when her and Oprah came out trying to act like 90% of the people criticizing her were talking about killing her. It's like, no, they weren't. They weren't talking. I mean, the vast of videos, I have yet to come across a video where they said anything about doing any physical harm. They just were criticizing her action, why she did it, and a lot of them didn't buy her apology. They felt like it was control. Don't forget, Bianca. Yes. So, anyways, as I said before, if you disagree with me, I would love to have a discussion down in the comment section. Let me know what you think if you disagree with anything I have to say, because just because I said it doesn't mean that it's set in stone in my mind. If you feel something could be different or whatever, I'm open to hear what anybody got to say. I'm always open to listen. If I said something wrong, disrespectful to anybody, it wasn't my intent. I'm not a person who knows everything or thinks about everything before I say it. And I could have said, just like that's what I said about Gail King. I mean, sometimes you say things that you wish you could take back, and sometimes you think you're attacking something from one area, you're not thinking about the collateral damage on the other side. So when I speak, I'm not speaking like I got all the answers. I'm not speaking like I'm 100% right about everything. What I'm speaking is from my point of view, and a point of view can always be influenced by new knowledge or a different perspective. So I just don't understand people that disagree with you, and because they disagree with you, they start airing out all their grievances by being disrespectful. There's millions of ways to discuss a situation only one of them generally leads to a positive outcome. That is sitting down and listening to other people and expressing your opinion, and hoping that you both can somehow come together and find a better, either one person's opinion is absolute and the other person is influenced by accepting that, or they both have certain truths and then they both end up better off for the discussion. I don't ever really understand the mindset behind attacking people for what their perspective is. Now, it is some perspectives are incredibly ignorant, and it's hard not to get annoyed by it, especially when they speak with arrogance in their ignorance. It's hard to take an arrogant, ignorant person, right? It's better to take an intelligent, ignorant person, because at least you know that person has done research and they somehow landed on that. But when you have an arrogant person who speaks so ignorantly, and they have absolutely no experience in what they're criticizing, I can understand the annoyance behind that. So, please be respectful. You know what I'm saying? We can have a discussion about it. Thumbs it up if you like it, and let me know if you really agree. Subscribe. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. So subscribe again and thumbs it up if you like it. All right, y'all. Peace.